My Hero Academia. This is My Hero Academia, chapter 372, Naked. We start off this chapter with a flashback as to how Shoji and Koda have ended up on the guard, on this like guard the hospital team, and basically they asked for it. After hearing what that heteromorph woman that Deku saved had to say about it, um, they felt like they needed to go out and help people there. Um, so they basically get approval, and Aizawa asks President Mike to go support the boys, especially since Kurogiri's there, so there's an extra incentive to protect the hospital. Um, but and now we're cutting to the present where Shoji is facing off against a hulked out spinner, and he's basically and what's President Mike is looking on in kind of in impressive, just impressed, just like these young men are already way stronger than we were back in the day. Um, and
Damn.
we get a little bit of a flashback from Koda, talking about how his mom is talking to him about how one day his horns will grow, and once they do grow, he'll have a stronger connection to animals. He'll be able to like beam his thoughts and feelings directly to them, even when they're farther away. And she explains that as a heteromorph, she's also gone through a lot of discrimination and hatred. But her dad was like always sticking up for her and on behalf of that, and explains that it's okay to be mad when you see these types of things, these little injustices. Grow up to be a man who gets mad when people mock something or someone dear to you. And we get this big splash page. Well, not really a splash page, but basically this divided page where both of them are using these their dope super extra attacks. He uses the Hitchcock birds, which I think is actually kind of a clever attack name for Coda. And the
What does
Octo
Hitchcock mean?
Hitchcock, Alfred Hitchcock had a movie called Birds. So yeah, it's about
What a reference.
yeah, it's a pretty deep ref. Um, and
Fair enough.
I mean, Shoji has a simpler attack. It's the Octo Suspension, where he just punches the shit out of Spinner. Still cool though. Um, so Shoji just shouts out, "Is like, what will you choose to protect with those scales and giant body? Tell me, Spinner. The rest of you too. What are you hoping to protect with your gifts and your power? Don't let them exploit your wounds." And we get a little like panel flashback from the girl that Shoji saved when he was a child, and turns out he got those scars specifically because he saved her, and I guess like they were not cool with that, like I guess interacting with like a non heteromorph person. Um, but
How
Spinner,
dare you save our daughter?
ah, yeah,
You should have let her die, you filthy scum.
you
Now
you you feel this scam?
touching her was worse than death.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, we see that Spinner is like still in his Hulk form. He's like, the grudge never fades. Uh, and he explains that like when he was for the crime of walking in public, they sprayed him with pesticide, and he's been just kind of a recluse ever since. Until like Stain came along and just kind of like gave him a reason to fight. Um, And in the present day, we see that Spinner just like jumps off directly towards the hospital, and he's somehow stronger. It looks, um, and Spinner makes it directly
It's
into
the
the.
drugs, bro.
It's the drugs, bro. Don't do drugs, kids. Uh,
It'll make you super strong and attack hospitals
yeah,
and forget your cause.
yeah.
I guess.
He bursts in, and he he starts to remember instructions that All for One gave him, that like Korigiri is transferred to the research wing, and once you reach him, play a recording of either Mai or Tomura's voice, and it should activate him again. And as Spinner is running throughout the hospital and the other heteromorph soldiers follow, They come across basically this chain of doctors that are just protecting the inpatient ward. Um, and he's just like, these heteromorphs are just seeing it, and they just like realize in that moment, like, oh shit, we may have fucked up. And we see Spinner running through like this hallway, and he's thinking to himself, and he's like envisioning himself, I guess, as this like little kid running. He's like, I never thought I'd get to be anyone, but by following you, maybe I can really be someone. Shigaraki, just watch me. I've got my allies behind me. And he sees that no one's there. No one's following him this far down the road. Um, and he's like, whoa, damn.
Oh,
All right.
no.
You,
Did the doctors beat them up?
no,
Did
the
they all have quirks?
damn. The doctors are strong, huh?
We miscalculated.
I didn't account for the people's consciences.
Yeah. I get the Kuragiri.
Anyway, Kuraguri.
Anyway.
Yeah. So honestly, like as he realizes that nobody's following him, he hears Aizawa in the distance just dashing after him. He's like, Shoji must have gotten through to them, and that guy in there ain't gonna be your ace in the hole. And we get this big 2-page spread as both of them call out to Kuragiri and Shirakumo, respectively. And I guess now it's just of who he hears more, which I think is going to be Present Mike, because that's kind of his whole thing. That's kind of his whole bag. But yeah, that was My Hero Academia. Josh, what did you think of My Hero Academia chapter 372?
I'm going to start off with a counter response to what you just said. So, yeah, Present Mike's quirk is all about sound, right? However, don't forget that Spinner is a monster now. Enhanced by All For One himself's abilities. So his scream might get to Kurogiri first.
Well,
And not only because he has a big monstrous roar, right? But because, he's already trained to hear his name from his master. Well, at least the name his master gave him.
well,
right?
I'll counter to your counter. All For One specifically said that he has to hear either Shigaraki or his voice, and it's Spinner who shouted out to him. So I think that's going to be the real ace in the hole. Is that at the end of the day, he'll respond more to Present Mike because he was supposed to hear Shigaraki or All For One to activate again.
Okay, one last counterclaim. If you look at the last picture of him screaming, you'll notice all of the scales on his body.
Yeah.
If he can cause all of those scales to vibrate at a high enough frequency, you could probably cancel out all the sound.
This is too much.
Am I making things up?
No, you're making things up. That's not
Yeah.
gonna work.
Yeah, I don't know what you said just now.
I don't know. I think my strongest argument is that he is indeed a monster. So
He is indeed a
I'm
monster.
gonna rest it at that.
You're not wrong.
I think that counts. I think you can't really ignore that. That
No.
it is a factor.
No, you can't ignore it at all. No.
Other than that, I kind of told myself I really want to save any super deep thoughts until this arc wraps. At least similar to what I did in a couple previous episode ago. So I don't know. I thought it was cool. It was really nice to see this little backstory for Koji. Koji, yeah. I thought it was sweet. His mom, now his dad was sticking up for his mom, and I was like, oh, you did it with the creature. Okay. I guess that's acceptable. It's not like she's the only post-human or whatever. I don't.
They're human still.
You know what I'm saying?
Heteromorph.
Sounds pretty racist to me, Josh.
Yeah,
I guess.
pretty racist.
I mean,
Josh.
It's not. I don't know. I guess it's not that devastating to my career since these are indeed fictional characters.
You're just like
and
the
I'm
rest
not
of them.
oppressing them. I'm not oppressing Koji or his mother or any of these heteromorphs.
You called her a creature.
I guess it is prejudice at worst, maybe at best apathetic. Well, anyway, they went hard. I mean, I didn't. You know what? Not the Octo guy. He hit Spinner, and then he got right back up and started running fast and like, I'm not even gonna waste my time with you. Like that was it. He got his scale shattered. Yeah. So he got hit, and then he got back up and talked about. I didn't like this. I didn't like his spiel because he's purposely looking stupid. So then, what's the point? Is his cause wrong? Is his cause diluted? Or is he a dummy? Therefore, it's diluted. Is there a little confusion there? Am I the only one that's picking?
No, I think you got a good point. I think I got a good point.
You know,
there.
which one is it? But I guess we'll see. Maybe he'll have a moment of clarity, and he'll be able to talk to somebody and say, "Nah, this is how I really feel," and fuck you, heroes. Suck my scale dick. You know, y'all ain't hold it down for me or my heteromorphs out in the countryside. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
He looked really cool, guys. If anyone want to follow along, on page 8, on the bottom right panel, they have a picture of him saying, "When they hit us, we hit them back." I don't care for the statement. It's just a picture of how he looks.
Yeah.
He looks like a cursed spirit.
He does.
He looks like Yu-Gi-Oh card I've seen in the past. I wish I remembered the name. Anyways, what do you think, Brian? How do you feel about your favorite series this week?
Breaks my heart.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know whether I'm sad because I don't like it or sad because it's sad, you know? Like I don't like what they're doing with Spinner right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like it hurts. It hurts to see it. Like that. Maybe it's supposed to, because like when I saw what happened with Spinner and he was by himself, I was like, damn, oh my poor boy, what are they doing to you, man? Why are they doing this? I just want him to succeed. But it sucks. I'm not sure what exactly Horikoshi's trying to do with Spinner still. Or whether he's gonna have him maybe turn himself around, or I don't know. I still don't get it. If there was more focus on like the whole, it's basically the same thing as last week. If there was more focus on the heteromorphs and all this stuff, these moments would be more impactful. But in the end, it still just feels a little off. It still doesn't fully hit the mark. So, and now we're gonna get this whole thing with Kurogiri, which I don't think Kurogiri is gonna hear Present Mike, just because it's like kind of the formula for these kind of things. Something has to go right for the villains right now, and it's gonna be Kurogiri joining the efforts of the villains again. So those are my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty short.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty
that makes
short
sense.
thoughts, but I didn't have much to say about this chapter.
We counted your theory, Chris.
Wait, what?
We counted your theory, bro.
Yeah.
Counted
I mean,
you.
hey,
2-on-1.
I'll tell you what. Good counter. I can't argue against it. I think I agree.
He's advocating for Horikoshi's style. My point, monster voice, and also Horikoshi's artistic and story style. There's a word for that. There's got to be a better word for it.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll get into my thoughts. I think I agree with both of you. I think there's something lacking here. You both are hitting on something that's that I think is the core of it. When I read this arc, it reminds me actually a lot of the Fishman Island arc from One Piece. Oda did something similar with Hody Jones. You know what I mean? It's just the motif of just, I guess, like what they're doing with Spinner here. I think is that it's the idea of allowing uh, unchecked rage and emotion and resentment, basically turning you into a monster. You know, where all you can really focus on is uh, getting back the eye for an eye type of deal here. And I think that's what's going on with Spinner, turning him into this kind of like brutish figure that can't really think for himself because he's just so blinded by the grudge. I get it, but it's also a little, I guess, reductive of the argument, and it's kind of like a little beneath Horikoshi, to be honest. I feel like he could have done a little bit more with this. But you know, it's kind of the easy way out with this argument. I think we're One Piece, and we haven't gotten to the end of this whole thing yet, but I think where One Piece got it a little better so far, not knowing how this section of the story ends, is that at the end of it all, we do see that there is a little bit of a brighter hope for the future in terms of Fishman. If we're equating Fishman to the heteromorphs here, there is like a brightness. The arc ends with Jinbei sharing his blood with Luffy, which was a thing that Fisher Tiger couldn't do. He couldn't accept human blood because he just couldn't bring himself to do it. He just could, like, his pride wouldn't allow him to take the blood, like have the blood of his oppressor, I guess, flow through his veins. Whereas Jinbei willingly gave his blood to save a human. You know what I mean? So, you know, like, I guess that's what I guess Horikoshi has to do to kind of like tie this up. But yeah, it is a little simple, and you know, it is like kind of done before. I guess on a positive note, really enjoy Shoji and Koda's backstories. I guess there's like these little wholesome things in them. I think they're generally very positive characters that I actually have enjoyed reading their backstories a little bit of. So there's that. There's also, you know, the oncoming stuff with Shirakumo. I think you guys have turned me. I think he won't hear President Mike somehow.
At least not yet.
Yeah, not yet. I think that's going to be coming. He's going to probably show up on the battlefield with Deku and them, and you know, it would be weird for them to resolve this without Aizawa being there, because this is supposed to be President Mike and Aizawa's thing. So, you know, I think that's what's going to happen. But other than that, yeah, I agree with you guys. I think Josh, you really hit on a point where they really do. Spinner is just like kind of this hulking creature, and it kind of takes away from his depth. I guess you also have to make him a physical threat because this is the end of the arc, and you know, there's a lot of like battles happening, and Spinner's not the strongest character on the villain side, so I get that.
I think now that I think about it a little bit more, they could be setting up Spinner to be someone who turns on All for One. And he could be the person who kind of brings Shigaraki back, like Class 1A brought Deku back, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe
It's a lot
that
of
could be
hope.
something they're doing. That would be nice.
It would be nice.
Like a good turnaround.
Well, I'll say this: I actually just got to the first war in My Hero Academia. You know what I mean, like that paranormal Liberation Front war. In my read through, I'm finally there. And like, you know, Spinner has been a little bit of the conscience of the team. He has been the one to question Shigaraki. You know, before the My Villain Academia arc, he was the guy who was like, "What are we doing? Like, we're just like running around. We're fucking homeless people. We just like we have no plan." You know, like, so there is something to Spinner that being the conscientious one of the group, so to speak, in terms of as conscientious as you could get as a villain. So I think there's merit to what you say, Brian. It makes sense. But yeah, I like this chapter. Okay, it is what it is. Like overall, what they're doing. What's the heart for? Do you just have this shit in advance?
I'll
now?
let you finish your thoughts.
Okay. Are you gonna tear
I
it?
didn't know I created it on the fly.
Wow, that was fast. I didn't even know you were doing it. But yeah, I mean that's what all I have to say. Overall, there's some parts I like about it, and there's some parts I'm not too crazy about. But it's not the worst thing I've read ever. So there's that. Those are my thoughts. Oh, what the hell's going on with the heart?
It's not the worst thing you ever read. Wow. Talking about, okay, so what I have here is Brian's heart.
Oh boy, here we go.
Mm-hmm. And while reading My Hero Academia over the recent, or maybe the past year, it's been like that. Been going for a spin, and it's been getting kind of pop, you know, just kind of get beat up, bang, 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 bang. Kind of like it's like in a wash machine or something. You know what I'm saying? Or in the dryer. You ever wash your clothes in the dryer? Yeah, fucked up. Anyway, all right, so it's in a pretty shambled state. But let me tell you this, guys. This was all everything I showed you guys, right? But like, you know, I'm painting a picture for those listening. You know, I'm crumpling this heart up, right? So that was all just my assumptions, how I guessed Brian felt. But it was all solidified today when Brian said his heart has finally broken. He said it.
Wow.
I don't have a
Beautiful.
timestamp for you guys right now, but I really hope Christian puts a timestamp for this.
I mean, I won't, but
I still
Well,
believe
guys.
him. I just hope that, you know,
there's a lot of drama to that.
I hope it gets. I hope he turns it around.
Me too. I hope he does turn it around. Well, you got to watch the YouTube version of the show if you're listening on wherever you're listening into it on, because Josh is apparently now just a paper master. Is just making the.
Yeah, that was on the fly, I guess. I don't know how he predicted that my heart would break this chapter, this episode, but
That's so serious. I
No,
mean,
here's what happened. Josh heard the words "my heart's a little broken," immediately got to work on this fucking heart.
he's like, yes.
That's exactly what happened.
It's almost like you were waiting for this moment, like you had this
Like
plan.
his whole life.
He was waiting.
It just came to me out. What can I say?
Well, that was My Hero Academia.
Hey, thank you, Brian.
Yeah,
Thank
you,
you
Brian.
for being open and honest.
Yeah,
That was all for you because
good.
of you.
It's good to know that if you're open and honest with us, we'll take advantage of your emotional state.